what's up? My name's Samuel. I'm a property investor, and in this video, I'm going to be answering all of your niggling property investment questions. There's a lot of changes going on at the moment in legislation and within the property market generally for buy-to-let landlords, but also for property entrepreneurs. So any questions that you've got about some of the new changes that are happening, any challenges, problems, do me a massive favor and comment your questions below. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna answer your questions, and that not only is gonna help you, but it's also gonna help everybody that watches my channel and all of my subscribers. So comment your questions, your challenges below, and I'll do my best to answer. Also, if you haven't already, please do hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It's amazing how many people watch my channel but aren't even subscribed, so they don't get notified of the latest videos. So subscribe to the channel and also turn the notification bell on. That would help me out massively. And don't forget to start commenting your questions below. Last week we had some really interesting questions and comments. A guy called Andrew Crampton had a question about EPC, which I'm going to read in a minute. I have got a lot to say about EPC. And if any of these questions, and as I'm answering, if you get an offshoot of a question, just comment it below in the comment box. So Andrew said, it'd be good to get your thoughts on the minimum EPC increase to a C by 2025 that's proposed by the government. Okay, so what that means is EPC stands for Energy Performance Certificate. So every house, every residential house will have an EPC certificate, and the certificate could be anywhere from an A up to an E. Okay, A means that the energy performance of the house is really, really efficient. It's really, really good. Not many houses are A's, not even many houses are B's. Most properties tend to be C's or D's. If it's any higher than an E, if it's an F or a G, then you cannot rent the house out because it means that it's not insulated properly. The energy performance is so bad that they say you can't rent a property out that's anything higher than an E. However, what the government are introducing is they're saying that they're going to increase the standard of EPC ratings from an E to a C. What do I think about that? Well, for a start, it's going to affect a lot of landlords because I think about a third of landlords think that they're going to be affected by this because a lot of properties, especially older style properties like Victorian houses, a lot of them are Ds, some of them are even Es. So the fact they're saying it has to be a minimum of a C, it's going to mean that a lot of landlords are going to have to spend some money, and it's going to be it could be thousands of pounds to bring down the rating to make it run more effectively. They might have to maybe get solar panels, or I mean, to be fair, listen. You can moan about these things and you can say, isn't it terrible? Oh, some of my properties won't comply. I'm going to have to spend money. And I understand why landlords are upset, but there are some things that you just can't control. I'm not going to start a petition and say, oh, it's terrible, because actually, it's not a bad thing that houses are more efficient. So I'm not going to stand here and start a petition and say the government shouldn't change the standard. Neither am I going to moan and say, oh, I'm sure some of my properties, many of them are Ds, and I'll have to try and bring it, make it better, and maybe spend money to a C. But at the same time, our rents are going up at the moment. Interest rates are very, very low. And there's some mortgage lenders, like the Mortgage Works, who are saying that they're gonna reward people for bringing their energy performance certificates better. They're actually offering 1.5% interest payments, which is just ridiculously low. So I think rather than moaning about, I've got to spend 3 grand, 5 grand, whatever, I would probably say there are some landlords that are going to sell up, which again creates opportunity. There's opportunity and disappointment. It's a combination, but you're always better off seeing the opportunity. It's good to have properties that have got a good energy performance certificate. It's good for you, it's good for the tenants, it's good for the environment. So overall, am I worried? Not too worried, especially as we've been given 4 years notice. The government are offering grants. So I've done a video about this before. They're offering to pay towards any property, including landlords, that are looking to make their properties greener. So overall, I'm reasonably positive about it, even though it will be a little bit of an inconvenience for sure. So that's my thoughts. I hope that helps, Andrew. Let me know what you think. Let me know generally, what do you think? Do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing? What do you think of my opinion? Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Michael Day says, need your advice. I've got a new job in Bristol and I'm buying a house on a residential mortgage. And letting out the spare room a good idea, as I already have a house down in Dorset? Okay, so if you're buying a house in Bristol to live in, and you've already got a property in Dorset, is it a good idea? Sure. If you can buy a house and then you can put a lodger in, and that lodge, I mean, for a start, you're going to get bedroom relief tax, so you're not going to have to pay any tax for the first £7,500 a year, which will probably be the entire amount of rent from the lodger, so it's tax-free income. Secondly, if you've got permission to do it, that money's probably going to pay for your mortgage payments. So I think it's a really good setup. Maybe worth considering renting if you're just going to be moving to Bristol short term, because if you've already got a house in Dorset, if you want to move back to Dorset, you might end up with this house that you don't want, which is never a good idea because you've got to pay stamp duty tax. If you end up selling it, you're going to get hit with more taxes, legal fees. But yeah, sure, sounds like a good idea, Michael. All the best with the move to Bristol. Stan Kim says, how do I do proper due diligence on a deal, e.g. a BRRR deal? What factors, metrics should I work out? So a BRRR deal, which stands for a buy, refurbish, refinance, rent deal, which is very standard for property investors. The due diligence you're going to need to do, number one, is you're going to need to know what the refurb is going to be. So you're going to need a survey on the property. You're going to need to make sure that you know exactly how much it's going to cost to refurb the property. You're also going to need to speak to estate agents and look on Land Registry, look on Rightmove at sold prices in the area, and you're going to need to know how much your property is going to be worth once you've done it up. And then there's also just the usual things. So for instance, once you've refinanced it, what's the new mortgage payment going to be? Is that going to be able to be covered by the rent? What's your profit going to be? What's your ultimate return on investment going to be? So these are the kind of questions that you really need to look at when buying a property. I hope that helps. All right, next. Adil says, I need to ask you, I bought a 2-bed terraced house and I want to change 2-bed to 3-bed with a stud wall and create a window for that room. Do I need planning permission for that, or can I do it straight away? Thanks. It really depends. It does depend. If you were just literally putting a stud wall and creating a second room, then you wouldn't need planning permission for that. But if you're going to actually create a window, you may need planning permission. I think it would depend on, for a start, is this window going to be overlooking? Is it going to be affecting people's privacy? I definitely wouldn't just go and do it straight away without speaking, because also if you're going to be building a window in place, I would speak to building control. I would speak to the council. It depends whether you need planning permission. You may not. I'd have to see it. Maybe I definitely would speak though to a planning consultant before you just start doing the work, because if you carry out work and you hope that you don't need planning, and then it turns out that you did need planning but you didn't get planning, they can make you undo all of the work, which is just such a demoralising thing to have to do. So don't just do it, but I'm sure you'll be able to get permissions. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine, and I hope that it adds a lot of value to your house. Okay, Matt Becks. How you doing, Matt? I hope you are well. Matt says, what are the average interest rates and fees with bridging loans? If a BRRR project is 6 months, what are the average costs? So bridging loans really vary. Typically, you're probably going to be talking about 12% per annum. So if it's just for 6 months, you're probably going to pay about 6% on that. There may be an in and out fee, an exit fee. So they sometimes might charge you 1%, a 1% exit fee. So you're probably talking about 6-8% of the money that you're borrowing if you only need it for 6 months. But of course, it really depends on you. It depends on the deal. It depends on the lender. But anywhere between 10 and 15% would be about normal per annum for a bridging loan. All right, last question. I hope you're enjoying this, by the way. Do hit the like button. Also, if you've got questions, I'd love to answer your property investment questions as well. So don't forget to comment anything at all, comment below, and I'll be answering your questions next week. But we've got Ayub Musa that says, how do I get a corporate let contract? Or what is the best way to sort the contract out? A company let just means an AST, it can be an AST contract. It's a company letting a house or a property. So it's an agreement, a contract, but rather than the house being let to an individual, it's the house being let to a company. So most letting agents will actually have corporate lets in their letting agencies. Oh, you're a company, no problem. And they'll give you a company let contract. However, if you're looking to do things like rent to rent or rent to serviced accommodation, then you want that company let to have some clauses in there. For example, you want break clauses in there. So it might be worth speaking to a solicitor to draw up the contract and making sure that depending on what the purpose of the company let is, you're covered at all angles. Also, it will protect the owner as well. If you're one of my students on our rent to rent training, then we can provide company lets that you can tweak. But it really depends on what the purpose is. If it's just a case of like this house that I'm in at the moment, is rented by my company and I live in here. And it's a very straightforward company let because I'm not sub-renting anything out, nothing like that. It's just my company's renting the property. That's really straightforward. But if you're going to be doing rent to rent, make sure that you do get a proper contract which you can get a solicitor to draw up, or if you're one of my students, then that's something that we can provide as well. I hope you guys found this video useful. Please don't forget to hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, there's an entire playlist up here. If you want to join me at the Property Investors Crash Course, I'll leave a link in the description, and I wish you all the best in your property investment journey. Thanks.